Welcome. This is Will at Work. I am Kevin. Today we're looking at the Nokia N-Gage. Now recently I had mentioned that Sony had a PlayStation phone that wasn't technically called PlayStation phone because they dropped the PlayStation name in terms of sort of like an Xperia line of the Emerson brand that Sony owns. I said I didn't own one, but I think maybe I do, actually. Although I don't... That one is an Android phone with a special game controller, cross-media bar. And this one is also based off of Nokia's original operating system. Forget what it's called. But they basically put it into a... game control format and also made it a phone. Now, it's a fine line with collecting game systems and such. You know, you look at these things and you think, you know, is this a game system or is it a phone, right? And some people will say it's just a phone because it's the same operating system, you know, that it was on the regular phone. You know, and then other people would be like, well, you know, it's got games that it's sold specifically for it in boxes, you know, and they have, you know, memory cards branded for it, and you don't have to use it as a phone, and you can still play games on it. So is it a game system and a phone? So here's how I look at it. It was marketed and sold as a game system, not as a phone. Yes, it was a phone, and they told you it was a phone. You would buy it at a phone store, etc. But it was marketed as a game system. And so therefore, it's a game system, and it should belong in a game system collection. Same with, you know, to a lesser extent, but true of the Xperia, the PlayStation phone. It had its own cross-media bar. It had its own place to download specific games for it. It had support, you know, and we'll look at that in the future. But in terms of the N-Gage, you know, there were two different models. I believe this is the first model, and it wasn't really successful, although I think it sold, I mean, they did make two models of it, so I think it sold well enough to... you know, have them double down on it. I didn't think this was such a bad idea from Nokia. You know, it had Bluetooth, so you could use Bluetooth headset, so you didn't really need to like hold this thing up to your ear or anything. It just came out at a time when the iPhone was really new, if I recall. You know, and a lot of people had you know, flip phones and things, and this was kind of bulky. It has this sort of rubber protect, you know, from dropping it, which is a nice idea, but it just wasn't what people wanted. You know, people eventually, you know, they wanted sleek, thin phones, and they would put their own cases on it to ruin it, etc. This wasn't really what, you know, people were after, even though, you know, the intent was there. Hey, you drop your phone, bonk, you know, it's rubberized, you know, and a controller thing, and I think the games were a bit lackluster too. It didn't have enough power yet. It was a little too early, right? Like if they would have waited a little bit, let like you know, iPhone cook with those touch screens and stuff, and get kind of something like the Vita, and you know, merge it with the, you know, the more of a phone thing, because the Vita, while it did have phone capability, you couldn't dial anything on it. You know, it wasn't really used for text messaging or anything. But the N-Gage was, and, you know, you could have, you know, had internet and all that kind of stuff on here that, you know, there was a browser, it was real crude, but you could have had something a lot better. And that might have worked out better for Nokia. I think it's just too early, and that was part of the problem. So let's look at this right here. So there's back here where you put your battery and your SIM card. I don't know if this will work without a SIM card. We're going to try it. And then down here, you have a cartridge port, and I forget what that little slit right there is for. It's not for power. It's something, but I don't remember what. Maybe some sort of other Maybe that's where the SIM card goes, you're thinking, but I think SIM cards, it's under the battery, and they were bigger back then. So not so much that. I don't remember what that was for. All right, so let's look at, neither of these games are going to be great. I probably have some other games somewhere else. They came in like this extra plastic case too, and they basically were SD cards with the games on them, and I believe that they were easy to pirate. You could get the game onto an SD card and get a copy of the game. I mean, there was a little bit of a runaround, but I think people broke it pretty quickly. I think you can buy like a all-in-one cartridge or something like that fairly easily. Not that you would really want to play a lot of these games, I think. Okay, let's see. So to turn it on, if I recall, you had to push this in. There we go. And I'm going to shut this light off so we can try to reduce the glare. And this be like your first time experiencing the Nokia N-Gage. I'll do my best to try to keep it in here. Yeah, see, it says insert SIM card, but I don't know. Can I get around that? Forget how to even do anything on here. Hang up. Emergency calls only. I know, man. I know. But can you, how do I get to how do I get to where I want to go? Clear. All right, I'm going to pause the video while I figure this out. I'll be right back. Okay, I had to dig up an old SD card out of an old iPhone I had. It was one of those larger ones too. Luckily I had one in order to get this to work. It didn't have to be an SD card that functions, just one that would fit in here. So here's a game. This is Pocket Kingdom by Sega on this little screen. I don't think I've ever even played this before. I don't remember it. The map of Ulgris is absolute craziness right now. I wish I could get that in better focus for you guys. Yeah, well, let's just move on. That's not helping us. Welcome to your very own Pocket Kingdom. Now, player, you are what we like to call a noob brand. Alright, this is boring. Let's do what you're never supposed to do, and let's just take the card right the heck out, because this game's awful. I've already lost patience with it, and I've been playing it for 2 minutes. I mean, you know, it looks like it's one of those free-to-play, play-to-win freaking things or something, and, you know, all that diplomacy and stuff, like you're building a kingdom, and then, like, nothing ever goes right. You're trying to, like, get everything together, and it's always like, there's been a destruction, or your vandals have come and blown your house down, or, you know, the people have rioted, they don't like your tax plan, and it's just like, you know, this isn't fun. This is like life. I don't want to play, like, a life game. Play games to get away from fucking life. Like, anyway, let's look at this other one, this Operation Shadow. Only on N-Gage. Nobody else will have us. Operation Shadow. Yep. So web browser messaging, etc. There's the N-Gage Arena, which I thought was like you could play online or something, but I think it was, at the time, it was more like for I don't know what's up with this game. There we go. It was more for like sharing high scores or something. I can't remember. I mean, it might have eventually turned into something else. Trying to get this in focus again. What is up with the focus on this camera, man? Alright, press any key to start. Oh, no tutorial. Let's just do whatever this is. Just do easy. We ain't got time. We ain't got time for hard. Learning. We gonna learn. No learning. Mission 1. What's going on? You already wish you could own an N-Gage, don't you? No, of course not. Oh yeah, this is like some run and shoot game. Oh, just shot a cactus. What the hell? Who wants some? You want some? How many bullets can one man take? Alright. Oh, what is that? Looks like vehicles or something. Getting run over here. I thought there was like a hand grenade or something. Alright, that's it for the N-Gage. Yeah, you know, little phone system that didn't get anywhere. But it was a decent phone, you know, in terms of like getting calls, and battery life wasn't bad, and Bluetooth, like I said, so you could use the earpiece on your head, which at the time a lot of phones just didn't do. But at the same time, you know, there's no keyboard or anything, so this wasn't like a BlackBerry or whatever at that time, which was, you know, what you wanted to do if you were going to like text and stuff. You could do the whole alphabet thing, but back then too, like text messages were like, what, 10 cents each one or something. So, you know, it wasn't a big thing at that time. I had a pager at one time that had text messaging. It was like a flip-up pager kind of thing, because a lot of people had like phones that could kick up, I saw, but none of my friends did. My friends weren't, because it was too expensive to text, you know. But in other countries, it, you know, it was a big deal to be able to send text messages, and they sold pagers that let you do that. So it was just like it was kind of like a device that just let you text. I say pager. It had like a text screen and a keyboard, but it wasn't a phone, and it would work over the pager network. So it was fairly inexpensive to send text messages and stuff that way, but nobody else had anything like that. It took a long time, and pagers went away, of course, and everybody had phones. All right, so Nokia N-Gage works. It's a keeper. It's one of 2 phones I believe I have that are dedicated to gaming. At least this one, I would say this one is a game system because of the way it was marketed. We'll look at the Xperia later and we'll make a decision then. Thanks for watching. Let's move on to the next one.